Good evening, Ms. Bullock, fellow classmates. My name is Vernon, and I'm here today to talk to you about the attribution theory by Mr. Vernon Weiner. Go on to talk about the definition of the attribution theory. In social psychology, attribution is the process which individuals explain causes of behavior and its events. Attribution theory is the study of various models that attempt to explain these processes. Here next to me right now is the man who invented this theory, Mr. Vernon Weiner. Vernon Weiner developed a theoretical framework that has become very influential in social psychology today. Attribution theory assumes that people try to determine why people do what they do, that is, interpret causes to an event or behavior. In your classroom settings, you have students that are in there, and you may have a kid that maybe acts out in class. And he kind of blames it on the environment instead of taking eternal responsibilities for why he's acting out on his own in class. Some students that you have, if you have a student that is in that same environment, and they will take ownership, well, hey teacher, it was me, it was no one else. That's kind of what you call internal process. And if a student acts out and they blame it on the outside, it's called external process. So in this theory right here, Mr. Weiner's attribution theory is mainly about achievement. According to him, the most important factors affecting attribution are ability, effort, task difficulty, and luck. And later on, I'm going to go ahead and break those theoretical chambers down so that you can get a better understanding of the attribution theory. As a physical education teacher, and when I got this topic, I wanted it to kind of relate to what I do every day in my classroom setting. So I went on ahead, and as I'm also a football coach too, so I kind of relayed this topic to sports. Attribution theory in sports. Attribution theory is a concept involved in sports psychology that investigates what people attribute their success and their failures to. And picture right here, you see the man Tiger Woods, who's a sports icon in the United States. Tiger Woods, for example, would attribute the tournament win to his ability, determination, and mental toughness. Whereas a regular student who has led a very couch potato lifestyle and has very low self-confidence might see any success they achieve as being lucky. As we know, to distinguish the two, Tiger Woods, he works out. He spends a lot of time on the golf course to perfect his craft. And every time he's on the green, he's always thinking, hey, I've done myself well by preparing my mind, my body to go ahead and do my very best. Now, if you get a guy or maybe a student who right now doesn't do anything, but they happen to just go out and maybe shoot some hoops or whatnot one day, and they make a basket and somebody praises them, hey, you did a good job. Well, they're looking like, well, really, that was a lucky shot because I never really hit that before. I never really practiced it before. See, that's the kind of distinction between the two. You have one that prepares, one who is confident and they know that they're ready to perform, and you have another one who really doesn't do anything, but once they achieve something, they call it, well, it just happened to be luck. By understanding how your students attribute their success or failure, you can influence their thinking and emotions to ensure continue to strive for their goals. Attribution theory can also help you understand the consequences of both success and failure for you and your students. In the classroom setting, you want to make sure that your students have the best knowledge of any coursework that you give them. You want to make sure that they understand everything that you are teaching them in your classroom, because it's like Bernard Weiner's theory, it's all about achievement. You want your students to achieve the very best in your classroom setting. So whatever kind of teacher that you may be, you want to make sure that that your students understand what it is that they're being taught, whatever lessons that it is that you may be teaching them, they have the best understanding to be successful in the classroom. Now I'm going to go over a couple of areas of attribution. Attribution theory looks at two areas, and one is called locus of control, and the other one is the outcome. First one I'm going to talk about a little bit is locus of control. Locus of control is broken into two components that refers to how much individuals believe their results is due to internal and external factors. And going back to what I was saying earlier in the sports topic, you may have someone who looks at the internal factor, say a football player. They may have just lost a football game. So the internal factor for that football player may be, oh man, I should have ran harder, or maybe if I tackled the guy on the goal line, we may have won the game. So they're putting blame basically on themselves, saying that they should have did better, the team probably would have performed better. When you have another person on the football team maybe use an external factor, saying, well, man, they putting blame on somebody else, man. If so-and-so would have just, caught the football, maybe we would have won the game. Or if the coach would have called this play, I think we would have did this. We would have been successful in that area. So those are two factors of the locus control that, kind of really hits on the attribution factor itself. And I wrote right here, where you take responsibility. Now right now I just want to show you a little video clip of a guy who's a real sports icon, who if he loses or wins in anything, he doesn't blame the team. He takes an internal factor and he makes better of it. So we want to right now go ahead and show you a video.
I've always been told that I'm too small